Hi, welcome to No Waste Wednesday. My name is Dawn. I'm the Reclusive Crafter. Today I owe you an apology because there isn't actually going to be a No Waste Wednesday. Today I am launching the final walkthrough of my steampunk journal, which I'm very pleased with. It's turned out to be a bit of a monster, I'm not going to lie, and I'll talk you through some little bits that kind of went wrong and things that I like, that type of thing. The lace here shouldn't be here. The clasp that I was working on, the magnets weren't strong enough, and I didn't realise that until after it had all been put together. And honestly, I really didn't want to waste the cover, so I just thought, you know what, we'll finish it off with a bit of grungy lace, which I actually think looks really pretty, so I'm really pleased with that. So before we get into the journal, I'd like to welcome everybody, including my old and new subscribers. I've had another little flurry of subscribers, which is lovely, so welcome to everybody. And if you haven't been here before, if you like what you see, do subscribe and hit the bell so that you get notifications of when my new videos come out. So without further ado, I'll get into the journal. So like I say, it's just being held at the moment by the little bit of lace that we've got on here. So I'll unwrap that, and then this cog here was supposed to be the closure and holding it in place, and it is kind of, until you kind of start moving it around, then it flaps open. So yeah, so this is the front, and as you can see, this has turned into a monster. Now this is actually only a 2 signature journal, and I really wasn't expecting it to be quite as chunky as this, but it really has ended up chunky. This is the spine, which I absolutely love that. And I will just say that the journal has been done out of Scrimping Mummy's steampunk file. She did a steampunk folio, and I've taken the prints from that and made it into a journal. But I've also used my own bits, so all of these cogs and things are all my own designs, so I've designed those and put them on. I've tried to keep it as close to Amanda's details as I can, but there are a few bits and pieces in here that actually aren't part of the kit, the cogs and things like this being one of them. And then as I opened that up, there's a couple of little watch faces there that aren't part of the kit, and also these aren't part of the actual kit, the ones with the flowers on, but they are Amanda's. These were part of her Pretty Paper Clips collection, but all of this obviously is part of the kit that Amanda put together. So I'll just take this little bit of lace out of the way so that we can get into the main body. And like I say, it is actually a huge journal. It is only 2 signatures, and I think the signatures are only 11 pages each. But it's still turned out to be massive. I've done a lot of embellishments on the inserts, and yeah, I think that's what's made it quite so big. So we'll open it up onto our first page, and I've just got a very simple slot-in pocket there. I've backed it with the backing paper as part of the kit, and inside here, these 2 items, just a little journal card, which I've backed, and that's one of Scrimping Mummy's designs. That's one of her background papers. I think do you know, I can't remember what collection that is, but it's on her site. Go and have a look. And I've done the same with all of the little cards as well. I've backed them with various bits and pieces. And this little item here, this is from her vintage letters, which I printed out onto avocado dyed paper, which is, I don't think you're going to be able to pick that up on the camera, but it is actually a very pale pink, which is lovely. And then I've just distressed that out, folded it up, and that's just acting as, hopefully you can see that okay, that's just acting just as a little insert there, just to get a little bit of extra journaling space. And then little journal card, and then these were the set of 16 to a page. So this is actually the full page, which is this one here, ironically, reduced down so that you actually print 16 to a page, and I've used those throughout the entire journal, so that's slotted in there. So the first page is this beautiful lady here. A lot of the pages actually I haven't embellished because they are so lovely. I didn't really see the need to. And then we've got a beautiful backing page here. And that's not going to... I have used the Medora style... the Medora style insert. I'm not sure I would use it again. I don't feel I've been very successful with it, but then you might disagree. This is one of the hidden paper clips, and under here I've just put in a page of the ledger, which just gives an added... And again, this is one of Amanda's collections, which is the ledger pages, and I've just literally slipped that in there just to give you some extra journaling space. And then I've done exactly the same on the other side, and I've just embellished the hidden paper clip. If I can get that out, just bear with me. Let me just pull that out so you can have a look at it. And then this is the little embellished paper clip. I've just put made a tiny little tag there. That slots back in there. And then on the other side, we've just got a few little labels and things that slot into the pocket there. And the pockets themselves have just been done with the little 16 to a page pages. And that I did a video on that with the video clip there. And I've just added a few little of the die cut cogs just to finish that off with. So that's that one. I'm going to leave that there. I won't try and put everything back into place straight away, because otherwise we'll be here all day. And then as we go over the page, this is one of the envelopes from the kit. I have used, let me just lift that up so that you can see it a little bit better. I've used a little die cut butterfly there, one of the little memory tabs that's part of the kit, and then that just slots in there like so. And then this is just one of the pages which I embellish with a couple of little cogs from die cut. I've printed out some little tags, and I've stenciled the back of them. Hopefully you can see that. So that's that one. I've added in a few little ephemera little bits. So we've got some little faux letters there and a little label which I popped in. And again, these are from the kit on the 16 to a page. And these little bits here were from when I did the ink printing on the map. And then we've got another little card there, and again just stenciled on the back. And all I've done is I've added a little bit of chiffon tie to each of the tags just to give it a little pull. And that's that one. Let me just get those in there. So that's that, and that just slots into that pocket there. Let me hold this up so that you can see it. And then these are just plain pages. You could embellish that if you wanted to. And then as we come over, I did a steampunk belly band, which I believe I did do a video on that one. And then I did a journal card, a little layered journal card, put on the design there with the die cut. Another little tag there, slot in just on that little bit there, and I've just put a little journal card in there to add a little bit of extra as well, and that's just plain on the back for you to be able to journal on there, and that just slots under there. And then this is one of the ledger pages which I added in. And then this is part of the kit, this one. As we come over, this was one of the first pockets I did. Let me see if I can pull that out. This is one of the first pockets I did. I've just added that as just a little add-in. I wasn't actually going to use this, but then I thought, oh, well, it's kind of a shame not to use it. So I've just added in a little tag there. I've got a few little inserts. These are all from Amanda's kits, from various ones of her kits. A little bingo card there. That's from the kit itself. I've just backed that with a little bit of plain paper and a little label there, which I made myself just out of stencils. So that's that one there. And then I've just put a little bit of embellishment there. This was from my own collection. This isn't actually my design, but I had this in my stash and I thought it worked really well with this particular journal. So I've used that lace page there, which I think is beautiful. And I just added a little cog there just to add a little bit more depth to the page more than anything. I've used some of the little labels, just literally as that, just little tabs. And then this was a layered tag that I did, and I've added a few little embellishments on that. The little butterfly was part of my collection, and then the other bits were all part of this particular kit. And then I added in just a very simple, I layered the tag onto a little bit of the background, and I put some ledger page on the back for some journaling space. So that was very simple there. And then again, just a very simple little pocket here. And in here we have another little tag. I've multi-printed out the tags and things because I just think they're lovely. And we've got her. These are both just stenciled onto the back. And this one is just a little layered envelope, which is again in one of Amanda's kits. And I've added in here one of the ledger pages just to add a little bit of journaling space in there, just to give that a little bit of interest. That one goes in there like so. And then the actual envelope itself, I've added a little bit of the die cut with the cogs and things. I've put a little banner on there, and I've just printed, these actually came from the smaller versions of the page, and I just punched them out basically and just stuck them on. So very simple. And then I've got a couple of these little inserts from Amanda's kits, and they just slot in there, and I think that was just part of my stash, to be honest with you. So that just goes in there. And then that all fits nicely back into its little pocket, like so. So that's that page. And then that's the centre. I absolutely love that. I love these designs. I just think they're beautiful. And I've used these designs quite a lot throughout the journal. And we've just got some journaling space there and a page there that whoever had the journal could embellish if they wanted to. And then on here, we've got a little flip out with a couple of little bits in here. So there's a little journal card there. The journal card has been made from one of the pages of the kit, and one of the little, I call these button punch outs. I'm not really sure what else you'd call it. And I've just put literally half a butterfly on there, which I thought looked really pretty. That goes in there. And then again, this is just one of the little cards from the page of 16 that I did. That was just in my stash, which I thought looked really nice there. And then behind here, I've only glued this sort of halfway down, so that's not a full tuck there, it's a kind of a half tuck, and I did that so that I could put these on. Again, these files are all in Amanda's kits. I've just added that in for journaling space more than anything. And then there's another one of the little cards, and that was just in my stash really, so I just thought that worked really well, and I popped that in there like so. So that works in there, and then that just slots back into there. Again, just more journaling space and anything you want to do with it. And then here I've got these are the little file cards that Amanda did, and rather than actually use them as file cards, I've left it fully open. I've embellished it with some designs that I had in my stash. I've added a little pocket from the kit and a little, what you call that, number plate. And that just makes a little pocket there to pop some little ephemera bits in, which I thought was very sweet. And then I've also put in a journal card to go in the pocket there. Another tag. These are all stenciled on the back. Oh, that one's printed on the back. I used Amanda's designs to print that one. That's just been stenciled, and that one's been printed. it's just such a pretty little kit. And then behind the belly band, if any of you saw the video, I've got these lovely little embellished envelopes. I made a little band to close it up with, and then we've got a little insert there, and in the insert we've got just a little letter there with some journaling space on. And I came across this in my stash. It's just, I don't know if you can see that, it's just a little transparent kind of bit of vellum, which I thought was really nice and went really well with the kit. So I've just popped that in there just as an added extra. Another one of the little cards. And then on the back, I've just embellished it with a smaller design there. And we've got a little bit of journaling page there. And this journaling page actually came from the Diary of a Lady. So I really have tried to utilise as much of Amanda's collections as I can in this particular journal. There's lots going on and lots of different bits and pieces pulled from various, can't get that on, from various parts of her kits that she has. So if you haven't been along, oh, that slipped on so easily before. If you haven't been along to Amanda's site, please do go along. It's absolutely lovely. The membership to access all of these items is literally £3 a month. You can print off as many things as you want to every month. You can print away until your heart's content. There's literally no limitation on what you can have. It's such a really good value for money. And the designs are just to die for. They are really lovely. And then again, this is just all part of the kit. That's the ledger pages. And again, just part of the kit. And that there. Now this was actually from Amanda's. She did some weekly challenges last year, and this was part of her travel journey, I think. I can't remember what week it was, but it was part of her challenge, and I've utilised that. I've cut it out. I've made it into a little pocket. I've put some chain style decor on there, and I've just stamped it with some little air balloons and watches and things, just to give it a little bit more added depth. And then to give it a little bit more definition, I've added in this little journal card. This was actually just the die cut out bit, and all I've done is I've backed that with a little bit of transparency. I don't know if you can see that there. I've added a few little bits of my own cogs and things and my own die cuts. That's from the Pretty Paper Clips design. And then these are all part of the kit anyway. And then that's just backed with a little bit of this was from the Diary of a Lady, and I just backed that with a little bit of paper there from that to be able to do some journaling on. And then these are parts of the kit here, just a little bit of tag there to add an extra little bit of journaling, and another little tag there for even more journaling. And it's all really layered up beautifully. And then I've got the little card there, which I've just slotted in just behind the clock there. And that all just sits very nicely in behind the suitcases. And that just comes out just slightly over there so that you can see it, which I think is beautiful. And then we have this page, and this I think this is probably one of my favourite pages. This is quite a heavily layered page, and what we've got here is we've got the little photo slides that I did from the little miniature pages that I printed off. So we've got that. We have got a tag with the little silky bit on, and then we have got the Pretty Paper Clip design, which Amanda did a video on. I just pull that out. So we've got the little paper clip design there from the Pretty Paper Clips. I have used some of the details from the Pretty Paper Clips, but I used the backing from the actual Steampunk kit so that it fitted in nicely. I've embellished it with a little bit of butterfly and one of the keys from the kit. And then these are just from Amanda's little bits and pieces from her ephemeras that she does. And I punched out a little face there. Hopefully you can see that. I just punched out a little face there. I cut a second clock at an angle just to give that little pocket there. And these are actually part of Amanda's labels, so that's all part of her kit as well. We've got another little journaling card there with one of the die cuts on, and again just simply stenciled on the back. And then this little item here, I just love this. I just think this is beautiful. And Amanda showcased this on one of her videos that she did. I've just embellished that with one of the die cuts that I had, and I've used the background of the design on this, and then that just opens out and you've got all that journaling space. How fab is that? I just love that. I think that's so clever. And then this obviously is a little pocket here that just sits back in there. That would hold that closed, but I really like the little paper clips and I thought they work so well on there. So we'll pop the little paper clip back on there, and then we've got the little tag just slots in there, just sits behind the paper clip, and then the little slide there. So that's one complete page there. And then we've got a little bit more journaling space. And to breathe, we're now into signature number 2. Signature number 2 is very similar to signature number 1, although there are a few subtle differences. So we've just got these pages here. Isn't that beautiful? I do love that. I think that's very pretty. Journaling space there. And then again, this was from the same challenge as the suitcases came from. I've just added the cogs there out of my own die cut collection to add to the smoke coming out of the train. I've put in a little bit of chain effect on there to give it a little bit more depth and definition. And then in here, these also came, I've just done a little journal card with a pocket on. I've put one of the little clock faces on there, and then this in here has got the little air balloon from the same challenge that the other bits came from, and then we've got the little globe, and these are all just adding extra journaling space on there. And then we've got a little label there which I just added a couple of the little cogs of my own on, and then that's actually from the kit itself, and again that's just got a little bit of journaling space on there. So all of those just fit into there really nicely, and I just thought they go really well with this particular design on this kit, which I think is lovely. And then that just slots into that pocket there. I did just embellish that there to say enjoy the journey, which I thought was quite apt. And then that just slides into the pocket there. Love that. I think that's really lovely. And then we've got another one of the steampunk belly bands, which again has just got the full size journal card there, and that's just embellished with one of the tags from the kit, which I put a little butterfly moth collection on the back of that. And then that one I just put a little bit of wording on, find joy in the everyday. And that again is just stenciled. So that's just a little bit of embellishment there to add a little bit of detail to that. And that one then just slots in there eventually. And then moving on, oh, not put that one in properly. We've got another one of the little paper clips. I won't bother pulling this one out because you've seen how it works. This has just got another little bit of the ledger page on. And then this has got a little tag there that I made with a little key front and back to act as the tab. And that just slots back in there. And then as you turn it over, and these, by the way, these were decorated with just little mini cards that I made again, and a bit of the photo. And then there's another little journaling space there, which I've added in. That's just a plain bit of journal there. And then little pocket on the back there with a couple of little labels to add to your journaling space as well. So there's lots and lots of journaling space in here. Another little cog, another little photo ID there. Another little tab there from the kit. And then another little envelope. This time, instead of doing the punch, the circular punches, I've done a little leaf design there, which I thought was really sweet. I've just added a couple of little embellishments that I had in my kit. I think that one's from Amanda's kit. Actually, I think that one might be as well. I think they're both from Amanda's kit. The envelope definitely is. I just added a little band there with a cog there. And then that just acts as a little insert there for some little extra bits and pieces. And again, in the envelope, just a little bit of ledger page to act as a little bit of extra journaling space as well. So there is literally journaling space added everywhere in here. And then again, we've got just a basic tag with journaling space and another one there with a little bit of stenciling on the back, which you could journal on if you wanted to. And then that just slots back in there. The little leafy bits come over the top, like so. And they go in there like that. And I've just put a Colour Your World banner just at the top there with a little butterfly, just to embellish that off a little bit. More journaling space. And then this is the second loaded tag that I did with the little strip of photo session down there. I put a tiny little watch on there. I don't know if you can see that there. There's a little watch embellishing that there. And then on here we have, I thought that was a pocket, then it's not. I've put a little bit, one of my cogs there, one of Amanda's labels, put a little bit of stenciling over that, and that's just a little bit of journaling space there. So very simple little tuck in there. Another bit of journal. Love him. I think he's lovely. And then that's the centre page of the second signature. And again, lots of journaling space, lots of places to add little bits and pieces in. This is the second one of the little, oh, I didn't put a little tuck in there. I must go back, I must put something in there. That is actually, let me just show you. So that is actually, I've missed that. That's actually a little tuck spot there. So you could put something in there if you wanted to. And then I've got a couple of little elements there. Just a little tag. These, hopefully you can see it's still in shot. These pockets are actually part of the kit as well. And then we've got that is part of one of Amanda's, I think that was her tea time challenge she did. And then that is just a little cog piece that just spins round there. And that just tucks in very neatly behind there. And that's obviously one of the pages in the kit that I've made that from. And then this one is the second part, and that just tucks in there. This is the file folder of Amanda's. I've just backed that with a little bit of print, and that can be used for journaling. And just another one of the little cards, and just a little thing I had in my stash that I thought went really well. So that's those. Just tuck that back in there. And again, I've only glued that. I've glued it about halfway up to allow for that just to sit in the top there, so that it gives a nice height to the page. And all of this just part of the kit. Again, another embellished belly band. This is very similar to the other one. I've got a little number plate there with a few little bits and pieces to go in there. They're all from Amanda's kit. And then I've got another little one of the journaling cards, a bigger journaling card, and a tag to go in there as well. So they sit in there like so. And then we've got another one of the little banded envelopes, and this time I have got Another one of the little cards. To be honest with you, I printed 4 of these designs out and each one had 16 to it. So I've been able to use this right the way through and I think it's lovely. I love the continuity. That's from, I want to say Diary of a Lady. It might not be, but it is one of Amanda's. That's for journaling space. And then this was out of my own kit. I just literally cut this out of a book and inked it and made it look very, very old, basically. So they go just behind there, like so. They are lovely, aren't they? I really love this kit. And then again, we've got a little design on the back with the clock from the paper, pretty paper clips. And again, just another little bit of journal ledger page for the journaling space. So that's that one. And then we just slot that one in. The clock obviously from the pretty paper clips, and the butterfly is also from the pretty paper clips collection as well. The belly band itself is the file folder that Amanda did. And we're going to pop that in there. You can literally, this is what I love about Amanda's kits, you can literally mix and match everything. I have just decorated that as well with some designs that I had in my own collections. I didn't design it, by the way, but it was in my collection. And then we've got some more pages here just for journaling. And then we've got another one of the pockets, just a little loaded pocket there with another one of the little tags. And another little fold out with a couple of the tags in. So we've got the lady and the man. And I've used the miniature pages as the pockets, and just a couple of little bits there from Amanda's kits just to tuck in there. So that's that one. And journaling bits. And then we've got another one of these fold outs. We've got 2 of the little journaling cards there, the miniature journaling cards. We have got the paper clip. Get this out. There we go. So that's the paper clip. This one has just got a little flower in the back there. I've made a little card out of a piece of the miniature journal cards. So that's that little one there, cute little thing. And then that little pocket there has just been made with the butterfly and a little cog with a little pop out of that one, in fact. There we go. So that's where that's come from. And then on the reverse side, we've just got the plain clock, and that's the pretty paper clip design that Amanda did a video on. So that's that one. Let me pop those there. And another journal card there, just with a little mini, it's not a journal card, I'm telling you fibs, it's a tag with a miniature tag even attached to it, with again a little bit of the silky kind of tie there. Another journaling card with a bit of the die cut on, and just with a bit of stenciling on the back. And then this one, just going to move this down slightly. This one I've added a little bit of the cog die cut on there, and this one opens up like so. And this paper was part of the, I want to say Georgian Romance. I think it is Georgian Romance, but it might be Diary of a Lady. Whichever one, it's beautiful, isn't it? And I've just popped that in there to make that one to go with that, which is gorgeous. And then that just slides in there like so. Let me move that back up so that you can see. And then these go in here. The little paper clip just sits in there. There are videos, Amanda did tutorials on these little paper clips, and also how to do the fold out as well. I did do a video on it. I didn't do a tutorial. I just showed you me making it. It wasn't a full tutorial, but Amanda actually does a full tutorial on that. So again, if you'd like to know how to make any of these, pop along to her channel and she will be able to show you how to do it. And let me just move those around a little bit so that he can go in there and then we can see her lovely face there. So that's that one. And then that's just earning space, and that's that. And then final pocket, we have got another little mini page, another little tag that's backed, and another one of the vintage letters that Amanda did, which I painted. I didn't paint it at all. I printed it on avocado dyed paper. I did avocado dye it myself, printed it out, stressed it out like mad, and just folded that up and popped that in there again, just to add some more journaling space. So you're absolutely spoilt for journaling space in here. And that one goes in there, and that one goes in there. And that, people, is the end of my walkthrough. I hope I haven't kept you too long. I do hope you like it. I absolutely love it. It's a bit of a beast, as you can see. I didn't intend it to be this big, but yeah, the design just kept running away with me and ideas kept flowing, and yeah, it wasn't supposed to be quite this big, but I do absolutely love it. I hope you do too. If you do like it, please hit the like, please subscribe to my channel. It'd be lovely to have you, and I'll look forward to seeing you all again for Quickfire Friday. So take care, everybody, and I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.